because House Democrats this week had the first shot at sort of deciding a new leadership team or stick with the old leadership team. They decided to stick with the old leadership team when, if you just look at the metrics, they didn't seem to earn the right to stay. Why do you think they're there?
I think the change at the top is always going to be the hardest. What you're seeing right now across the country is more grassroots mobilization of Democrats and would-be Democrats, right? We have to remember that a third of young voters voted for a third-party candidate. But there's really sort of a roiling prairie fire going on right now across the country of activists who are saying we want Democrats to have some backbone. You've had young people sitting in the offices of Schumer and Carper and a bunch of other folks saying don't actually shake hands with the white supremacist Republican Party at this moment. I mean, there are trends going on right now that are not, I don't think, reaching up to the question of who, the leadership rules in the Congress, but that you will start to see in 2017, 18, in primaries. There's as much energy at the base of the Democratic Party right now that there was at the base of the Republican Party before the Tea Party.
There's also a simple explanation for why she won. It's the math problem for Democrats. 2/3 of the House Democratic caucus comes from the West Coast or the Eastern Seaboard.
Touches on
That's
ocean.
who the base is. The base is not middle of America, Tim Ryan from Rust Belt, Ohio. When we first started in this business, Chuck, there were a lot of these things called Southern Democrats. There were Midwestern Democrats. There were Blue Dog Democrats. They are gone.
Isn't
the base
that
of
the
the
problem,
party,
given the Electoral College?
That is the problem. So Democrats have a geography problem. Republicans still have a demography problem. But the geography problem is going to mean that they're not going to be back in control in the House.
I look at this election, and it is always funny, but it's like Republicans want to say, see, Democrats have a white working class problem. And I look at this popular vote thing, and look at Texas, I'm like, and Republicans have a Latino problem. Both things are correct.
Well, I think what Democrats will likely conclude is the way they try to reach Trump voters is with the Bernie Sanders style economics. What I think they're going to have a much harder time grappling with is they actually need to make some nod to the cultural concerns of these voters. If a Bill Clinton circa 1992 were running this year, someone like Colin Kaepernick would have been ripe for a Sister Souljah moment. A Democrat saying, you know what, you yourself are a privileged person. The least you can do for this country is stand up during the national anthem. No Democrat would say that except for, bizarrely, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and she had to apologize.
Heather, it's interesting. I've heard that from some other Democrats who don't want to be quoted on record saying that because they're afraid that they would make the base angry by essentially saying what Rich just said, that a Bill Clinton would figure out how to close this gap culturally.
And that's part of why particularly young people did not support his wife, right? We cannot just follow the conservative Southern strategy to try to split working class people who are white from working class people who are people of color. This is a moment for Democrats and progressives of all sort to recognize that when you have a strategy that's actually just propping up the 1% by dividing everybody else, you will always lose. It'll always be close margins.
Also that